All right, I've been running my mouth about castor oil and esters and fatty acids and transition metals that are in your blood. And the reason I'm saying this stuff is because you are a chemical factory, and this is being overlooked to some degree. Now, I do the mud fossils, and the rocks are literally body parts that are now mineralized. So what I do is I look at them closely and I determine the anatomy and all the business and how the chemistry altered itself to transition into these things. Now, and when I look at them, as you know, when you take a rock and it's wet and you look at it, you see things. And when it's not wet, it looks just like a dirty little stone. Now, so what I do is I hydrate them. That means you put water on them. So I used to soak them. I did this, I did that. I put all kinds of different creams and lotions. And I came across castor oil. And here's what happened. Look at this. This is literally a quartz rock. Anybody would say that's a quartz rock. Well, when you put on the castor oil, you see what it did? It penetrated so deeply, it hydrated this rock. Now this has been on there for about a week, and it penetrated and made it so deeply hydrated, and the little fatty acids go in there, they break all the little bonds and things, and you can see so much detail now. You see, I don't know if you'll be able to see those little white dots in the middle there. You would never see that in 10,000 years. None of that would be a scene. You see up here, I just put some on up there, but so I wanted to show you before it changed. But that's what you'd see before, is this kind of stuff. Nothing. It'd be like this here. Just a big old nothing. Well, that will change, and down here too. You see all these different things that are happening in the tissue, those little circly looking things. You'll never guess what this is, and I'm not going to tell you. But you'll never, ever, ever in a million years guess what this is, because it took me a very long time to figure it out, and I've got a lot of time on this stuff. Now see that? Same thing here. You see how deeply that pushed into that? This is, I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a heart or something. I believe it's a heart. But you see, I put it on in different places, and look at this. Look at this. This is what I believe the doctors, and they call it SLRP, small leucine rich proteins, and they go between the layers of the tendons, and the tendons slide across them. And there was a tendon that went out here, and there's one that went right down in there. See, that's where the ball was. Now look at this. I put that on a week ago, and it hydrated that and turned it red. And watch what will happen if I put water over here. Over here there's some more blood, but it doesn't get hydrated until you put water on it. So I used to put water on it, turn red like that, and then in about 15 minutes it would be brown again. And then it would keep, as you add more and more oxygen, it keeps getting darker and darker brown. When this came out of the ground, that literally was as red blood as it comes out of your finger. And I mean, I have all this stuff. I have so much of this stuff. It's ridiculous. So what I'm getting at is, use castor oil. It's a hydrator. It's a hydrator. It goes right in, and it's all loaded with what they call these fatty acids. And the acids, and the pH of the acids, is what frees up the metals and the minerals in your body. They have to be on a lower pH than neutral or in the upper ranges. So they have to be hit by these acids. It cracks the bonds. They become free. They go and they do what they're supposed to do. And otherwise they get locked up here and there, and you get all kinds of problems from this. So the castor oil, that's all I got to say. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to hurt you. They've been taking it since Cleopatra. She used to put it in her eyes to make them white. And it's been since anybody been walking around on Earth, they know this. So I'm just telling you, I think we should go back to the things that worked, not the things like they just sell them to us. Because I'm telling you, they are not doing as much good as they could. Let me put it that way. I think you got to start with the bacteria in your system, because that mines the metals. The bacteria in you is extremely extensive. The 50% of you is bacteria or more, they say. And I always say they say, because I don't believe 90% of what they say. Now, secondly, those bacteria have to, they eat the metals and things, and they turn them into useful products for your body. and then enzymes are created, and they work on things and break things, and then it transfers around your body, and they exchange. They called carboxylation and decarboxylation. They go up and they grab some oxygen, and the iron grabs oxygen in the hemoglobin and so forth, and it takes it down to where it's got to go, and then it decarboxylates and lets it go into where whoever wants it more. That's all it is. And it's usually a pH-driven process, and there is actually pressures that drive things too in the lungs. I need to look more at that, but they claim that it's because the two arteries, ventricles or whatever you call it. Yeah, the ventricles, the ventricles. One's bigger than the other. And one of them has more pressure than the other, and that's what changes the oxygen. They say, I don't know, I'll look into that. But anyway, what I'm getting at is go back to the basics. Castor oil, what do you got to lose? And the yuck is the only syllable I've heard bad about, and take it out of there by chasing it with a little slurp of orange juice. And close the case. Give it a couple of weeks. You can put this stuff in your eyes. You can put it in your ears. It helps your hair. It's just, you call it snake oil. I call it miracle fluid. But that's just my opinion. All right, goodbye. All right, one thing I forgot. Beavers are the hardest working creatures on the face of the planet. And guess what they have for what they call scent glands? They're loaded with castor oil. So I don't see necessarily, it may have a smell, and it may be a scent gland they use for some purpose, but I think it's a power plant. I think it's turbocharged. But that's, again, just my thinking.